Welcome to another episode of the Starter Girls podcast with your host, Jennifer Loading.
And Brianna Drelas, and together we are the Starter Girls.
Where extraordinary decisions produce extraordinary results. These are our friends, these are your friends, and they are living the extraordinary. Today's episode is brought to you by Walt Mills Photographer of Glad Models Agency. If you are here in the Dallas or surrounding area and looking for some photography work, check out Walt Mills. You can learn more about him and his work at photosbywalt.com. Additionally, we want to give a shout out to our friends at the Studio Dallas. The Studio Dallas is the best kept secret in the Dallas podcasting world. If you are looking for a studio with top-notch technology, video, and audio recording capabilities, as well as a production team to help things go smoothly, then check out the Studio Dallas. You can learn more about them through us at startergirls@gmail.com.
And head on over to startergirlswithaz.com where you can get your free gift. We want to help you to up-level those decision-making skills and also keep in touch with you. So head over to startergirls.com and pick that up today.
Absolutely. All right, time to get things started. Today is a great day to be brave. You might as well start now. You have the power to change your circumstances any day you decide. Let today be that day. Rise up, be amazing, be you, do you. All right, my friends, I'm super excited to welcome our guest to the show today, Aaron Griffin. He is an entrepreneur, author of the soon-to-be-released title, Get After It, 9 Keys to Model How High Achievers Execute and Win. I like that title, by the way. And he is the host of Get After It podcast. Aaron left university at 19 to scale what became a multi-million-dollar division of a company called Student Painters by age 21. Today, Aaron helps experts craft and scale their signature offer to 6 figures, leveraging virtual events and organic marketing. An avid reader and self-proclaimed people enthusiast, Aaron grew up in the Midwest and now resides in Nashville, Tennessee. So welcome to the show, Aaron. We are super excited to have you here.
I'm thrilled to be here. What a run up! I'm pumped. Y'all got me going here. This is like, can we do this every day? I can look forward to this every day. At the end of the day, let's go.
Hey, this is my signature gift: reading bios. Like I got it down. I could be the MC at an event, and I will have everybody fired up to listen to that speaker.
Hey, the ad read was pretty good too. I'm sure that the photographer in the podcast studio are absolutely filled right now.
They better like it, right? They better. That's what I'm saying.
It's good.
And Brianna,
thanks for having me on,
she's
guys.
good too. I remember we first did the very first time you read that about the Starter Girls. I was like, man, that was good. Oh, she's like,
hey.
I've done a few commercials and voiceovers before.
I used to do voiceovers.
Yes. We have to you might hear one of your voiceovers sometime. Anyways, Aaron, we are super excited to have you here. You're doing some amazing stuff. So I want to kind of open this up because you've got a book about to come out. Am I correct? We got that right?
Yeah. As long as I've known Brianna, it's been about to come out, but it is about to come out. Yeah, it's close.
Okay. Yeah, we might just pin you down today with the date before
I know.
you leave.
Yeah.
Can we make that real? Do we have that on the calendar? We got to make it
tentative.
Real. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I'll tell you what.
No.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Aaron, when I used to do sales, one of the things I used to do when I would book people, I would get them booked. I was a booker and a closer, so I'd get them on there to be okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get a date tentative on the schedule with the idea that if we have to reschedule the date, we can reschedule. You're not canceling. You're going to reschedule. And I would get those bookings. I was good at it. So we're going to get a date out of you.
Well, it comes down to in terms of your audience, from what I can gather, they're looking for like when you're trying to have breakthrough in your own life, we are so natural to put the deadlines that are applicable to other people ahead of the deadlines that only we can hold ourselves accountable to, right? 100%. So like if you have especially with a side hustle or whatever the case is, like anything that's only you, it's just so much easier to push that off as opposed to somebody where it might not be something you love to do, but it's just because another person's on the calendar or somebody else is on the email where you're going to get it done because there's another expectation that you're going to get it done on the outside, right? So there's a lot we could go into that. The book, I would say we're recording this. It's mid-May right now, so we're probably looking at 2 months out with the book. Only because we're actually done with the manuscript. We're figuring out the title or not less of the title, the actual cover of it. I've known Brianna from an accelerator program with a publishing company for a minute. So I've been working on it. It's the story of, you guys read kind of my bio, which is the painting business we built out of college, and kind of recognizing that it's a little atypical that somebody does that at such a young age. So it was like, what worked for us and what didn't? Because most of that success came from all the mistakes that we made in the process, right? So the book kind of is like a fun reiteration of all the mistakes we made in scaling what ended up being a $3 million company. And exiting after 2019, I had a chance to actually really go deep on it with the book. And the book's kind of a fun way to hash out some of those lessons that, frankly, I'll go off my soapbox here. It's literally, we have so much opportunity out here right now, just in the world in general. There's so much out there. And the book's written towards 16 to 25-year-olds who I feel like right now look at the world in a lot of ways as a dark and gloomy place. There's not that many routes. They see institutional routes like, what would you call it? Long form, like routes that have been successful for many, many years are looking less and less so because of what happened with COVID, but also what could be happening on other routes too, right? So like when we think about the world today, there's so much change, and that also provides so much opportunity for people who don't have skills to get into the marketplace. So I think the goal of the book is to really get after it, right? It's to really inspire somebody to say, there's so much opportunity here. Don't let the potential of your life weigh from actually just making things out of things that happen in the moment, right? And we all know, like, breakthrough comes from actually working, comes from getting into the things, making action. Like, I never thought I'd scale painting business. Totally fell into it, right? But once you fall into something, it's like you make the most out of something. It changed my life and changed a lot of other people's lives while doing it. I think that's kind of the message of the book, and I'm thrilled to put it out. I just it's again, one of those deadlines where it's like, oh man, like this is my deadline. I got to get it done and got to roll with it. But it's been a fun project to say the least.
So you left university at 19 to scale this business. I'm impressed. I mean, I read your bio earlier today when you sent it, and I was like, wow, because we had another guest on here a while back by the name of Chaz Wolf, and he was another businessman that had scaled business. I mean, just had 4 franchises by the time. But what was he? How old was he? Was he 29? 29. Had
late
4.
20s.
Yeah, had 4 franchises that he had built, and it was kind of the same thing. And what he does is he helps people scale businesses. He goes in and helps them maximize. How do they get in there? So when I was reading your bio, I told her, I said, very different, but I see the parallels here, kind of that mindset of really scaling. So I'm looking at this and saying, okay, so you left university at 19 to scale a multi-million-dollar business. I mean, wow.
Well, and here's a funny thing about Aaron. When I first met this guy, we were at a self-publishing convention. So an author convention for authors who are wanting to publish. And he was him and his friends were like the youngest kids there. They were like, did you just
like not even close?
Yeah,
I wasn't even close. I mean,
I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even know how old you were, but yeah, they were so young. And so when I met them, I'm like, hey, you guys are like cute and young.
Like
what's happening? Yeah, like let's hang out, So one of my clients, we were in Austin. One of my clients had a show that night, so I invited them to the show.
Okay.
And got to know them a little bit better. And then, a few days later, Aaron and I enrolled in like a business accelerator mastermind program through the same company, and spent a year together in this small business mastermind. And so I got to know him a lot better at that time. But this is the kicker. Aaron, after this convention, like, where did you go? Like, he went off the grid. He decided to like hop a flight to like Europe or something like that. Like, we're literally about to go kick off this mastermind. He's like, hey, yeah, I'll see you guys. He's like headed to Europe. I'm like, who are you? Like, who is this kid? It was awesome. It was so much fun to just kind of watch you do your thing and not be afraid, because so many young people are exactly what you just said. They're either afraid or they feel like there's this extreme pressure to follow a certain path, which isn't the case. I think that the world is open to pursue your passions. And I think more than ever today, you have the ability to pursue your passions and be successful. You don't need to go the traditional path. And you show that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's like running to something, not from something, is such a big one. Cause I never intended to leave college, right? Never intended to leave university. If I just go back to that, it was, So the painting business, they're a national company. It operates like a franchise. They work through an internship program through business colleges, and they go and they find entrepreneurial minded individuals, and they'll say, hey, we'll match you with startup capital. We'll give you startup capital, and we'll give you a coach, and then we'll split profits with you over the summer if you're successful, right? And they have you run a painting business, and that was the thing we did. I was okay at it in the beginning, but you have those. What I love about entrepreneurship is it's transparent. Like there's a balance sheet at the end of the day. Like you can't pass the blame to somebody else. You got to own it. And that's what I learned that first summer, was just figuring it out as running a branch and just all these different things, like running my first painting crew. But that next year in school was my second and my last year at school. I got rejected from the business college, and it was because of a technicality on my application. I basically bombed this one class, and even though my GPA was really good, this one class gave me like a big penalty. It was essentially, I could not overcome it. And that opened up, though, the possibility of like, okay, what else am I going to study? I wasn't excited to study anything other than in the business college. So I just said, okay, I'm going to figure this out next year, because I just still have gen eds to go. And my second summer, I made like $40,000 as a 19-year-old that summer, running the painting businesses again. Like we expanded. I bought a van. I bought this like old beat up utility van. We painted that thing with like house paint. Everyone said the house paint was going to fall off after a week. Thing lasted like 3.5 years. There are so many things that just doesn't make sense out of it. But when I come down to like right around the middle point of that summer, I recognized just how much I was learning from that opportunity to just run these businesses. Like we went from 5 employees that first year to 25 the second year, and like 4 crews that second year. And there was a division that was, for lack of a better term, on fire in New England. Like they had started this thing, they did really well with it for literally the first year, and then since then it had been declining, and it was like just disastrous. Like under 400,000 in revenue for a division that was being ran over. It was just not good. So maybe this will be beneficial for the audience, maybe not. I look at things like from a decision-making standpoint, what's the floor and the ceiling? And I remember hashing this out with my buddy in my driveway. The idea of leaving school, it came in like a week. I literally had the idea of, you know what, I've been a top performer at this company for 2 years. If I asked to go to New England and take over this division, they'd probably say yes, because they have nobody else. Like nobody wants this thing. They're probably just going to shut this thing down. So it was an opportunity, right? That's the only way a 19-year-old takes over a division of a company, right? On the flip side, it was like, okay, what's the pro? Like, what's the best possible route? And what's the worst possible route? What I recognize, or at least the idea of it was, the worst possible route, like the absolute worst possible route, I go out there, make a joke out of it. We fail, division bombs, and I'm back in school. I already don't know what I want to study. I'm back in school, though, a year later, 21, at Michigan State as a junior. Doesn't sound like that bad of a floor. I'm already borrowing money to go to school. So like, okay, floor is there. Ceiling was, we go out, we find a success with it. And as my buddy put it, he's actually from the Dallas area now, or he lives in the Dallas area now. He said, like, companies will create a position for you if you're successful in doing this, because that's the value you would have for a business. And just that jumping off point, it was like pure energy. So it was like pure, like, I just wanted to chase something. Now, the next like 9 months were awful to put in context. I mean, I was 20 years old by the time I got out there, watching everybody on social media doing all the fun stuff in college, and I was out here trying to scale this painting business. I mean, it made no sense, right? But I had great leaders, people that poured into me, even though I had full autonomy over the division, and like I had way too much autonomy for my age over the division. We were able to pull some things together. We did really well that first year. We broke $1 million in that first year, which wasn't even close to our projections. Like, it was hilarious. We crushed our projections the first year, and now that the division's actually the largest in the company now. Since I exited, they've grown it. The leaders that worked under me and that I had the chance to develop while I was out there, they're killing it now. So I just go back to that point of walking around my driveway. It's like, you guys mentioned, like, people feel like they got to follow one path. And it's like, just remember, everything's a choice. Everything's a decision. The way you wake up in the morning to start your day it's a decision, right? The choices that we make, they compound over time and they become really more powerful. Like somebody who's got a morning routine that's like unbreakable, they're getting so much momentum in their space because of that. But at the same time, it's any big decision. It's like, I look at the floor and I look at the floor and I look at the ceiling, right? And like, if the floor is not, what I love about for this is what the book's written to, right? If you're under 25, for the most part, you have nothing to lose, right? Because most people are borrowing money to go to school anyway. So it's like, if you're presented with the opportunity it was kind of a no-brainer in my frame. And then when I was exiting, the funny thing was, I was on a call with a friend of mine, and it was, I had no idea what I wanted to do when I left that company. I just knew there was a couple of reasons that I wanted to grow in some other ways. And I remember talking to a friend of mine who was like, he was trying to hire me. And he was like, I don't even know what you would do. Fast growing company. They probably had like 15 employees at the time. And he was like, I think we'd create a position for you. I think that's honestly the best we would do. So it all came full circle. Like 2 years later, I was like, oh, wow, here he is. He wants to create a position for you. But I went to that event, Brianna. That's how we got connected. And then I was traveling the U.S. for a couple months. And then I booked a flight to Europe. That was a lot of like the whole trying to find yourself thing. I hadn't not had a job. I grew up working at my dad's pizzeria, right? Like since I was like 12. So I didn't know what to do with myself, to be totally frank. Once I left that business, I had no clue what I wanted to do. So I just filled that with travel. And travel was great, like love it, but you're not going to find yourself traveling. You'll find yourself through working, through the actions, connecting with more people. That's always going to be the way that you're going to find what you're going to do next. But some people I feel like maybe need to unplug and just go out to Europe for 6 weeks and try to figure it out from there. But yeah, that was kind of the kind of the full circle thing on it. Yeah.
That was so good, Aaron. Okay, so you said two things. So I always talk about these learning lessons, when you talk about every time we do this podcast, I always learn something from somebody. We've done 2 recordings before this, and I've gotten something out of each one. I actually learned something from Brianna today. So about to Neverland.
That's right.
So Aaron, you said 2 things that are sticking that I think are really good. I like the floor and the ceiling thing. And I think, you're looking at what's the worst case scenario here and what is the ability, what can happen. I love that. So that's really good. And then you just said something else and I'm drawing a blank.
Like compounding? How the decision.
That was good too. That was a good one too. Because
we talk about that.
We're very much morning routine people, and he said something else that was really good that stuck with me. You're
not going to find yourself traveling.
Oh, the traveling, the connecting. Because one of the guests that's going to be coming on our show, he is a famed sports psychologist, and I just got through reading his book Puke and Rally, and he was talking about. He's an ultra endurance athlete, and I'm a runner, so like his book was really good. But he was talking about how you find yourself, you go through things through connecting. And I always talk about this because I'm a big networker. And so I always tell, when I was training people on my team, I'd always say, like if you're stuck and you don't know the next direction to go, you need to meet somebody. Like you need to meet the next person, because sometimes the answer is in the next person that you meet. And so I'm a big believer in that whole connecting and finding yourself, through doing activity, because how do you kill negativity? By activity. Like if you're feeling stuck or in a bad state of mind, go to work, do something. Because when you start working, you're going to generate something. Ideas are going to come. You're going to meet people. Bam. Boom. That's good.
Mike,
that's really good.
It was good.
That's really good.
Well, because it's negativity. I love that.
It's also we were talking about this, and I went to church last night. They were talking about like if you read the Bible, all the good things happen to people who are working.
See,
it's not the people who are not hanging out. It's always the people that are doing things.
Nothing happens, and especially if you're like, I'm sure you're kind of like us too. Like I like being busy. I thrive. My brain is stimulated when I'm connecting with people, and when I'm doing activity. When I'm sitting around, nothing gets done because I'm bored and I start procrastinating and then I start going, okay, you suck today, Jennifer. Get off your buns and do something. Make some magic happen.
Well, it's funny. We had I was just thinking like when I'm stuck, I just need to get on the phone with people. That's just something that I know. Like it doesn't matter what I'm stuck in. Like if it's personal fitness, I know people I can call and just need to get my head out of the gutter. But that's also like, that's more habitual, right? I go back to last geez, with COVID, it's so funny to think about it. Like, I can't watch Netflix anymore, right? Can't do it. And it's literally like, I think back to COVID when we had, I was in San Diego at the time. I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I actually was in Italy when COVID hit the fan in February. And
that's right. Yeah.
I flew back, moved to San Diego like a couple days essentially before it hit the fan out here in the US. Yeah. And I was on a flight because I remember I didn't know what I wanted to do. And a couple of people had, a couple of friends of mine had I made a couple connections. Next thing I knew, I was flying out to Denver to meet with somebody about potentially working with them. I remember landing in Denver and like the stock market took a hit, right? So it was like the first hit from COVID, right? So in that span of time, the next like 3 weeks, I literally think we had my roommate's sister was on our couch because she was unemployed and she had a friend of hers. We were all going to go to Hawaii, and then Hawaii like shut down. So we were in Hawaii for like 3 days when we were those people. Like when COVID hit the fan, we bought the $50 tickets to Hawaii that they were selling, right? But then we get out there and they shut down all the parks, so we couldn't sleep in it. We brought hammocks. We were hammocking in Hawaii. You guys are going to think I'm ridiculous. Like, I'm not that crazy, but like this is what we did in COVID. I got back and we were on my couch for like 2 weeks, just doing nothing good. Just sitting there, watching probably every Disney movie possible. And I think because of that, like 2 or 3 week period, and Brianna, you know this, like my parents have a pizzeria in Michigan, carry out and delivery. They were slammed because of COVID, and they still are. Their business has picked up since, but they were slammed because they were this neighborhood pizzeria joint and they were losing staff. And my parents were out here working like 100-hour weeks, like every freaking day because they had no staff, like every day. One of them had to be running the store because they lost their whole staff.
Takeout's the thing at your pizzeria.
It's only carry out and delivery, right? So it's only takeout. Yeah. And I was sitting here with nothing to do on my calendar because I had exited this business. I had been traveling. I had a couple coaching clients that were like very, like, not much, right? It was like a couple hours a week in terms of what I was working. So what I did was I had a podcast and I literally just started interviewing people. Like, and I got on the phone with probably like 25 people. And ironically, that led to what ended up being, what was it? Kate, Brianna. Kate McKay pretty much was like, I remember a call. She was like, "So what the heck are you doing right now?" She was like, "You're just burning runway." She's like, "I'm going to pay you $500. You're going to work with me for a week."
Doing this,
right? Oh, you know Kate? Have you had her on?
I know. Yeah, she's been on our show. We know Kate. Yes.
So Kate's like, Aaron, she's like, you're brilliant. You just need to find whatever it is that you're going to do. She's like, I'm Venmoing you $500 and you're just going to work for me for whatever it is. I don't even know what you're going to do, but you're going to do some. So I got in and I could have helped her business more. I told her this. If she had like some employees, like the best thing I'm at is scaling and like leadership. So I made every mistake possible with hiring and all these things. And, but one thing I could help with at a minimum was like building out some of the systems of her business. Even though I suck at it, I can help her with it a little bit. But I ended up plugging her with, I was at the end of the first week, I was like, Kate, we're making some progress here, but like, you need someone who's actually going to help you get clients. Because Kate's biggest problem was we'd get her on a call with somebody and she'd solve everyone's problems in 30 minutes because she's a brilliant coach, right? She's like one of the best executive business coaches out there, right? She's freaking great. And we couldn't convert clients out of that. It didn't make any sense. She's written an Entrepreneur magazine. She's had all these great things. So someone who had worked with me, Tyler LaJoy, who you guys should also have on your show. Tyler's my partner now. Tyler, I actually hired out in New England for Student Painters. He was one of our leaders out there. He worked with me for 2 years. And at the time, he was trying to figure out like Facebook ads and like, I can't remember exactly what he was doing, but I was like, Kate, if you're in the spirit of throwing $500 around, throw it at him. I guarantee you he's going to be charging a lot more in a few months because he'll be getting result. I don't know what the result will be, but hire him, right? At the same time, I got traction. I started working as like an executive business coach for like a few months. And at the time I signed like 2 clients in a week and I had like rent for a couple months. Like we were moving. I was like, oh my gosh, like we could actually figure this out. So I went off in a different direction and Tyler helped her build out a launch that she killed it on, like crushed it. I think she did like 5 or 6 hit, like 30,000 on that first launch. She killed it. That led to Tyler working with a few other people. Brianna, I know, we worked with you on that. And then Tyler reached out to me. Well, we had been talking repeatedly throughout the summer. And then once we got to the fall, it was like, there's some really cool things that we could probably do together. So we partnered up on that launch since then. And that's how we got to what we do today. But it goes back to what we were just saying is like it's the who, not how. Go talk to somebody that can help you get to where you're at. You don't have to. Now, what you don't want to do is limit yourself to just one route. Go talk to several people. Don't lean into that one person, because it's like you're looking to serve. You're looking to give. And this is especially important when you have nothing to offer, right? Just go give. Just go give your time. Like, just go figure it out, and something could work out from it.
100%.
Right? That was a long tangent. Hopefully,
no,
that was
it's
decent.
good. It's good. There was a lot of good points in there, and I think it's good for people that are wanting to be, that are either stuck or they are entrepreneurs, and really how to take that next level. Because I think a lot of people just get so hung up on, they don't know what to do, and it's really, you just need to get out and start talking to people, because that's how ideas get generated. And it is a lot of, you can't, in a business, you can't be good at every single piece of a business. And that was one of the things I learned when I came out, because I'd been in network marketing for a very long time. And I actually just closed my door in my one company after 21 years. And, because I realized there were pieces in that I enjoyed and I was really good at, but there were pieces, because when you are in network marketing, you're wearing all the hats. You're wearing every hat of an entrepreneur. And there were pieces in there that I realized that I just really didn't enjoy and wasn't good at. And so I had to find those pieces in that I enjoy doing, I was good at, and how do I take that into that next level and do what I want to do? So it really is. I think about finding people that can do those things that you don't enjoy doing and help you build your business. But it's all connecting.
Absolutely.
That's why networking is so important. Networking. I talk about when I coach my clients, and they're like, I don't understand networking. I'm like, you just need to get out and start talking to people. They are not going to know what you do if you ain't talking, right?
Oh,
uh-oh.
we lost your audio.
We lost your audio.
I just
there we
muted,
go.
Oh, there you are.
muted
There you go.
myself.
Okay.
He was muting us, or muting him. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's also just the fear of failure, like the classic, like you're going to make a mistake.
Sure.
Again, it comes down to like realizing you have nothing to lose, even when you have a lot to lose, right? Like you really have nothing to lose by starting a conversation with somebody. So like, I think of it like you come down to, from a networking standpoint, what's interesting about COVID is it put us into this loop of you were limited to the connections you had already built for the most part, right? Like it was everybody on social media was everybody that you knew already, right? We stopped meeting new people. We stopped connecting with new people. We stopped doing all that stuff for COVID. The people who are excelling now are the people who are recognizing that it's actually a really awesome way to connect with people is actually online. I mean, we moved to Nashville. I can't tell you how many friends we had in Nashville, and just other people who are entrepreneurs, business owners, people who are producers, just people who are doing a lot of cool things. I knew them online already because they were either a part of a mastermind we were a part of, or they had done similar work, and we connected over either Facebook or LinkedIn or something along those lines. And what's really, I think what I'm seeing out of the people who are crushing it today, I mean, I know we're seeing this out of the people who are crushing it today, are the people who are leveraging online effectively, right? And it's showing up in a way that's authentic, that's you, and just making mistakes. I mean, I do a lot of things wrong, frankly. I think a lot of like there's elements where you can do some things that you got to do one thing really well, right? You got to find the one thing that you can do really well, because that's going to fuel whatever it is else that you want to do with your time, ultimately, right? So if you're younger and you're looking for, and you have literally no obligations, it all comes down to the obligation side, right? Like if you don't have mouths to feed, you don't have kids, you don't have a spouse, whatever the case would be, and you're single, there's nothing stopping you from just engaging in as much and just taking opportunities to see exactly what you said, which was what you said, Jennifer, like you're talking about like your genius zone, like the 80-20 rule, right? Like 20% of, 20% of your actions produces 80% of your results, or whatever the case would be. It's because when you're doing things that are naturally aligned to you, you're going to enjoy them the most, and you're going to do them better than everybody else. And also the opposite is true. Like you don't want Aaron Griffin doing your payroll. like that,
Right.
like it'll take me like 15 hours. We probably have somebody on Upwork do it for 30 minutes.
Right.
Right. So there's just trade-offs there, and trying to find that. You got to try to find that balance and see what you want to do. It's okay to
100%.
taste a few different things and try it.
Yeah, it's good. There's a lot of good stuff here. A lot of great takeaways, I think. Especially for young people. I think anybody young, this will be a great one for young people, because I think a lot of times, people put these limitations on what the abilities that they think they have. They either think they're too old to start something, or they're too young. They don't have the skills. And I think you've said over and over through the messaging is to eradicate that fear. What is the worst case scenario? So, which is the way I look at everything. I'm a guns a-blazing mindset a lot of times. I just automatically assume that most things we're going to try, there's going to be failure. It's just how are we going to get through the failure? That's the goal. How do we get through it? So, good stuff. So, I love it. Do you have anything else you want to add to that, Brianna? This was awesome.
Well, I would really like for you to put a date on your calendar to finish your book. For real, because I can't wait to read that book.
I think it's going to be good.
It's going to be great. And you have a podcast by the same name. So like you have a ton going on. Plus it's part of your legacy, right? So you need to get after it and get that done.
Yeah. I think a lot of people.
No, I'm feeling really good.
Yeah. We're excited for you. We're really happy you were able to make the podcast today. So thanks for hopping on with us, and tell us a little bit real quick about Impact Launch, though, before you hop off. So people, who is it for? Who does it serve? And how can people find you, connect with you, the things?
Totally. I would assume maybe for the description of the podcast, maybe you could drop my links. You can find me on social media. Aaron Griffin on Facebook is probably where I'm most active. Aaron Z. Griffin on Instagram. You can email me, AG, my initials, ag@theimpactlaunch.com. Impact Launch, we help experts build their signature offer and market it with virtual events. We've had a lot of practice and making mistakes with this and over time with this over the last 9 months. So we feel like we have it dialed in where the best person to work with us is somebody who has authority and is just struggling to actually translate that into, Brianna, this is the one thing, I noticed a lot with that group we were a part of. It was such a blessing to be a part of that group when COVID hit, because it was all online coaches and consultants, people who were doing really good work. And that didn't stop, even though COVID came in. I think everyone stopped for 10 days, but they were the first people that were back up and moving. And
I'd agree.
One thing I recognized immediately when I was just doing stuff with Kate and a couple others, it's we do a lot where we're trying to do something like a book or a podcast, or there's a lot of things that we can build out to try to build our authority and market ourselves, when the best thing that we can actually do is get clear on that messaging and start building the audience from the ground up, where you're working with that 1% of people you can really change their lives. Doesn't even matter what you charge them to do it, and it doesn't matter what your program is. But if you have authority, we need to start working with those people on a very intimate level and just actually get involved with them. So we help them build out an offer that will help them do that for the people that are going to be best. And what we found is that was the thing I was floored by, was how many people, and that was a pretty freaking awesome mastermind, Brianna. It's how many people, even just in that mastermind, are struggling to, when they write a book, just to get clients or business from that book. How many people are struggling with just that? That's really where our offer began, was how can we help them get more clients from that? So ultimately, that'd be the best way if somebody's there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good, Aaron. I love it. Good
awesome,
stuff.
man. Well, we're so excited for you guys, and great stuff. We can't wait to see all the awesomeness that you continue to do.
And I want to read your book, so get it out. I want to read it. So you've got some amazing stuff going on there. I love it. And to be young and have this much going on. Bam.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. You can inspire all these young people to rise up, be amazing, be you, do you, right? So good.
And get after it.
That's right. All right. Well, we want to say thank you, Aaron. Thanks for being an awesome guest and sharing all your. I love the authenticness of everything you shared with us today. I think it was raw. It was good. So thanks for sharing with us. And we do, of course, want to say, to our listeners, if you enjoy our podcast, please be sure you give us a rating both on iTunes and Facebook. We can't do this without you. And hit that subscribe button on YouTube.
And head on over to startergirls.com and pick up that free gift so we can keep in touch with you. And don't forget to do that.
Yeah, we got to leave you with a couple final thoughts. This is good. This is good for today. It is only when we take chances when our lives improve. The initial and the most difficult risk that we need to take is to become honest. That's by Walter Anderson. And in order to have success, you must start. And we know every start begins with a decision. You guys take care, be safe, and be kind to one another. We'll see you next time.